Hello, I'm Richard Hamilton, and this is my first video I have ever made for YouTube, as I've only just opened an account. I'm 78 and have recently become an author, novels and short stories. Long before I got to my present ancient days, I was a teacher, 13 to 18 age group, at first mainly music. Some English, but later on nearly all English with some bits of administration. I enjoyed teaching, worked a bit too hard probably, became ill, so packed up. I also had some other health issues, but I'll save all that for another occasion. When I was about 60, I took up buying and selling second-hand books and restoring where necessary. Thoroughly enjoyed doing that until bags of books became too heavy. And of course, if you don't buy, you can't sell. Eventually I stopped buying and selling and took to writing. But like many people before me, I'd thought about it for many years. I had two main sources of inspiration. The first was when I met a former pupil who had become a successful novelist. I remembered her as a very good story writer. In fact, I always looked at her work first. The second inspiration was a series of holidays my wife and I took in Italy, Lake Garda, a small village called Cardoni. Often when I sat in the village square and looked down a slope to the waters of the lake, I imagined various dramas taking place. Indeed, it was the place they used at the village for summertime entertainments. When I eventually completed my first novel, The Baskerville Dust Jacket, the closing drama of the last few chapters took place in the lake just out from Gardoni. So far, I have completed 6, all published using Kindle Direct Publishing. The second one, The Mystery of the Pope's Private Papers, was a sequel to my first. They both use a narrator, something of me, a semi-retired second-hand book dealer. I generally try to base my plots around real events. The first novel perhaps less so, but the second one takes the reader into the COVID pandemic. The third one has a family researching its family history and finds to its horror that one of its forebears was involved in the Second World War Holocaust. The next was based around 3 18-year-old lads who meet at music college. 2 become an item, but each of the 3 has a background event, the most dramatic of which was when one family decided to visit Sri Lanka to look up the forebears of a former relative. But before they could do that, they were caught up in the dreadful tsunami of 2004. The 5th and 6th novels are both political and follow on from each other, and both use real events. To avoid getting muddled up with present-day politicians, I chose to set them 10 years hence in the early 2030s. My current piece of writing, which I hope to publish later this year, called The Thomas Chippendale Remains, does draw on a lot of real history, but actually is a sequel to the second novel, certainly as far as the main characters are concerned. But it also is set 10 years or so further on, so the children of one of the families have grown up somewhat. I mentioned earlier writing short stories. but so far I've yet to publish a collection. But occasionally my novels include a short story, perhaps written by one of the characters. It actually provides part of the novel. Anyway, that's me as a new but ancient novelist. Perhaps my next video I'll include a little writing, certainly something more than a quick peep at one or two covers of my novels.